What's going on, Jerome's? The NFL draft is mercifully almost upon us, but the question still remains, are the Vikings going to stick at pick and 12, or should they trade down, or should they trade all the way up and go get their guy at an elite position of need, potentially? Potentially. So we're going to walk through a couple scenarios for the Vikings, who they could be targeting in a trade up, as well as what it's going to cost to be the boss. Now, you would think, Kwesi, Moneyball, trade down, get as many picks as possible, have as many lotto tickets as possible. I understand that. And the Vikings at 12, especially if one of the top tier quarterbacks are available, whether it's Kenny Pickett or Matt Corral or Malik Willis, etc. And the Vikings are in a very interesting spot because I think there's a good chance that maybe only one quarterback is off the board by 12, and then you have teams like the Saints. You have teams like the Steelers that are really champing at the bit for one of the quarterbacks. So maybe they see that, hey, we're going to have to jump the line. Or maybe the Texans, even though Davis Mills looked pretty decent last year as a rookie, maybe they aren't completely sold, or they're like, hey, 2 young quarterbacks is better than 1, right? So maybe they could get all up in there. So the Vikings could have some very valuable trade down opportunities. But what if they want to go get their guy? Now, what's interesting is that ahead of them, there are 2 teams that have multiple first-round picks. You have the Jets at 4 and 10, as well as the G-Men at 5 and 7. So we'll see what happens there. What Joe Douglas, who has done business with the Vikings before, well, he did business with Rick Spielman before when the Vikings moved down when the Jets came up to 14 to get Elijah Vera-Tucker last year, and the Vikings moved down, taking Darisaw at 23, who they probably would have taken at 14, but then they also got the draft picks for Kellen Mond, as well as Wyatt Davis, no matter what, etc. And the Giants, Joe Shane was an assistant GM with the Bills, and he was in the building when they pulled off the Stephon Diggs trade. So even though Rick Spielman, long gone, Kwesi is in the building, but they have done business in between the teams before. So that would make a little bit of sense moving into those spots. And who are the Vikings going to go and get? So it basically comes down to a couple players, Sauce Gardner and Derek Stingley. Now, before Stingley blew up his pro day, I think that there was a good chance that he would make it to 12. I'm not so sure anymore. And I think that Sauce Gardner is probably going to be cornerback 1 off of the board. And he could go, Sauce could go anywhere. Like, Sauce could go 3 to the Texans. Sauce might even go 2 to the Lions. It's not out of the realm of possibility. I think 4 to the Jets, 5 to the Giants is certainly a possibility. I would be a little bit shocked if he falls out of the top 7 at this point. So the Vikings do want to get Sauce. If he is so far ahead, head and shoulders above Stingley and McDuffie and Booth in terms of top tier cornerbacks, and they're in the market for them, they're going to have to move. Now, looking at the trade chart, how far can the Vikings get? Just, again, this is back of the envelope math. Every team that is doing the asking always has to pay a little bit more than the team who is being asked, etc. So the Vikings at 12 have a trade value of 1,200 points. This is Draft Tech. I think this is an offshoot of the Jimmy Johnson trade chart. Second round pick is 440. Third round pick is 205. Fourth, they don't have a fourth, but a fifth, and blah blah blah. And now future picks, it's hard to quantify since you have the time value of you have picks now versus picks in the future. Plus, you don't know exactly where those picks are going to be in said round, but whatever. So right now, just black and white, if the Vikings wanted to move up, so that'd be 440 plus 1,200, so that could get them theoretically to Carolina at 6. And like I said, the team doing the asking, which the Vikings would be doing the asking, would have to pay a little bit more. So the Vikings could move up there. But I think that 6 is kind of an odd spot because the teams that would certainly draft Sauce, the Jets and the Giants, are in front of 6, or at 4 and 5 respectively. So moving up to 6, where you don't even know if Sauce is going to be there, it's questionable. And Carolina may just stick and pick and take a quarterback because they're flailing at this point. And if they slide down to 12, the top quarterback that on the board, it may not be there, right? So I think absent a team jumping them, I think that they're going to have their choice of quarterbacks at 6. So it comes down to the Giants at 7. Now, it would be a tough negotiation because if the Giants want Sauce at all, they could either take him at 4 or at 5, or gamble that he's going to be there at 7, and Carolina's going to pass on him, even though Sauce Gardner and J.C. Horn, come on, baby. Come on. That'd be gross. But the Vikings could make a deal, theoretically. So 1 and 2 for the Giants' number 7 pick, and like a 4th rounder would make it relatively close. But is that something that you want to do? Like, it. Are you that sold on Sauce Gardner that you're willing to give up a second round pick and just move up and go get him? Now, I think that he's a premier talent. I think that he would be an immediate starter. I think that he has Pro Bowler written all over him for the future. So the juice may be worth a squeeze in this spot, but that's a big time move. Yeah, that is a big time gamble. I think what potentially could be more sensible is Derek Stingley Jr. So now you're looking at a move up of, say, all right, so say Sauce goes to the Jets or the Giants, etc. And then say Atlanta takes a quarterback, Seattle at 9. So say Carolina and Atlanta each take a quarterback, Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, etc. Now Seattle's sitting at 9. They certainly do have cornerback needs, but they have needs all over the place, and they're in full tear down rebuild mode. I don't think that they'll pull the trigger on quarterback 3 at 9. Could be mistaken, but I think that moving up from 12 to 9, if Stingley is on the board, or for some reason, say Kyle Hamilton has taken a fall, or even Charles Cross, where Charles Cross is a fantastic tackle, but he has ability to kick inside. And even though he's not really on the menu at this point, I mean, if he got to that point, if you want to secure him, you could play him at guard as you evaluate Darisaw. I would be tempted. That would be extremely tempting to go get. And trade value wise, say that you're trying to leapfrog the Jets. So say the Jets go with an edge rusher or a tackle at 4. Sauce goes to the Giants at 5 in our hypothetical situation. Carolina and Atlanta go quarterback, and Seattle's sitting there, and they have a lot of needs, and they're probably not going to take a quarterback in this spot. But you know that the Jets are probably going to take Stingley, or at minimum Washington will be, or we'll throw Kyle Hamilton into this mix as well. So Stingley or Hamilton. Would you be willing to part with your third-round pick, number 77, to move up and leapfrog the Jets and Washington with Seattle at 9? I would. Where I'm sold enough on Stingley and Hamilton that, I would get in the business of flipping that third-round pick just to move up 3 spots to secure your guy. Because, it would stink. Like, say, Stingley gone, Hamilton gone, and maybe the Vikings could be in trade down mode, but just securing a guy that's going to start right away as a rookie, is going to be your future, is going to be probably a Pro Bowler, maybe even more than that. I mean, it's very tempting. It's very tempting just to secure that, whereas, where are you going to do that third round pick? I mean, you can draft a guy who's going to compete for a spot, maybe becomes a starter down the line, maybe develops into something more, sure, but grasping at some of these top tier blue chip picks, I mean, there's only so many of them in every single draft. So I think that the potential of maneuvering and giving up a little something just to make sure that you go get your guy does make a little bit of sense in this spot. But I don't know. We'll see if the juice is worth the squeeze. This could be completely moot. Maybe one of them does fall, or maybe Sauce and Stingler are gone so fast that just whatever. But as of right now, I think there's only a few players that theoretically could drop that the Vikings could and should be interested in, where Sauce Gardner, Stingley, Kyle Hamilton, as well as, if Charles Cross falls, that would be super interesting. Super fascinating. But other guys, there's so many good edge rushers in this class. I don't think that you necessarily need to be champing at the bit to trade up for one of them. Though Trevon Walker, if he fell to a degree, that would be interesting. I think you can stay put for Jermaine Johnson if you want to go down that route. But we shall see what happens. I think that the idea of them trading up, it does make sense if the board breaks in a certain way. But as of right now, I think they're content sitting and sticking and picking, or potentially trading down. But we'll see. Everything. So that's what's so exciting about the first night of the draft. And I used to like when the draft was 1, 2, 3 on Saturday, 4, 5, 6, 7 on Sunday. That was a nice weekend event. But the drama of the first round needs to be in prime time as a standalone event, because there's a lot of stuff. There's so many hypothetical trades and contingent trades that if the board breaks, we'll do this. If the board breaks wrong, we'll do that. It's just so fascinating, man. It is. I'm glad that we're in the thick of this. But your thoughts are thoughts. Should the Vikings trade up if the board breaks right? Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skull Production Value.